eventually one day, I and everyone I know is going to die. Hi, my name is Natalie Lynn. Today we're going to break down the intro to my video, I Just Turned 20 and I Feel Alive, cut by cut. So this opening shot was literally the only thing I had planned when I was shooting the video, and then it ended up sparking the rest of the video. For some reason, I just always knew I wanted to open up one of the episodes with this shot, because it's kind of like mysterious a little bit. You're like, oh, what's about to happen? Why is there this girl sitting in the middle of a road with a birthday cake, blowing it out? I don't know. It just looks visually cool, I guess. A lot of like the things that I make, I don't know what I'm doing with them until I get around to editing them, or just until the story like falls into place. I don't know, I feel like your subconscious mind kind of like works in an interesting way when you're creating things. The original audio to this shot is really just awkward. It's so awkward, so I kind of tried to redo the sound design. I like went out with my mic and I just recorded really close with a mic, my feet just walking on a road, and it sounds a lot better. I recorded the door opening, the door slamming. I just tried to sound design each like footstep. Crossed my legs, redid that. The lighter, did that. I did the blow. I just like blew into my mic. I was like, okay, I think that's good. So on October 30th, 2021, I, Natalie Lynn, turned 20 years old. I think the original music placement was gonna actually be like right when I am sitting down. Like, I could show how that kind of looks. It doesn't hit right there for some reason, so I decided to put it like just right after I blow out the candle. I think it helps encapsulate the vibe more, because you realize what's happening, like, oh, I'm about to celebrate something. And then it leads into this whole intro thing of us just fucking around with a birthday cake on the side of a road while the sun is setting. I had no idea the intro was going to turn out this way. Originally, I just wanted to get this first shot, and then I didn't know if that shot ended up working after we'd spent all day trying to film it. So I was like, you know what? We just need to get as much B-roll on the side of the road as possible. Actually, the opening shot to the Borderless thing, me throwing off the birthday cake, I was like raging, because I was like, I just spent my entire like 20th birthday trying to get this one shot. I don't know if it even turned out. So this was me just like throwing the cake, kind of like raging, but still trying to make the most out of it, having fun. And yeah, it ended up being the actual intro, like the main Borderless shot. So this was actually my first time doing stop motion. Basically, I printed out each letter individually and kind of like cut them out. I crinkled it at first so it has like a little bit of a texture to it. You could tell it's like paper and it's not just like straight out of the printer. And then I lined up the letters kind of how I wanted them, took a picture of that, and then moved the letters a little bit, took another picture. So then it kind of creates this effect where it's like moving a little bit back and forth. And then I just looped it in the timeline, as you can see, just like a little animation, just basically goes back and forth like multiple times. I shot this all on a green screen I got off Amazon. I think you can get like little cloth paper from like a craft store too. Just iron it so there's no wrinkles in the green screen. In Final Cut Pro, the green screen effect is called green screen keyer. I think Luma keyer also works. And I just basically like messed around with that to get the green screen to go away. I actually shot this the opposite way, where I started out with this, with just the Borderless text, and then like each individual piece of paper I would fold down until it was a ball of paper. But anyways, the point is, the older I keep getting, the more I start to realize I have to get comfortable with the fact that eventually one day, I and everyone I know is going to die. I wanted the vibes to be kind of like upbeat. I have to get comfortable with the fact, and then when I say eventually one day, the thing about death is when the music just stops. And I do a little like cinematic bass boom sound effect is what it's called. Kind of like stops the music suddenly and there's this like dark shot getting us out of the upbeat birthday celebratory vibe. I like to use songs that I genuinely like. That's why I get copyrighted on like all my videos. I just think that they have a really like special feeling and it helps me edit and write. I can't really write unless I like the song. So when I was writing out these like beginning voiceovers, I was playing the song like over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think that's good. I really do.
So on October 30th, 2021, I, Natalie Lynn, turned 20 years old. Yeah, I just think the writing to songs helps you know like the tone in your voice that you want to go for when you're saying it too. Like I think the song just makes it kind of flow better as well. 20 years old. I definitely can't say I ever expected just kind of like upbeat vibes at first. There's this part where the artist starts singing and I use that as the text. And then when he stops singing, that's when I go for the other voiceover because it just, I don't want to seem like I'm interrupting the song, I guess. To be celebrating my if I remember correctly, yeah, a lot of the times I'll kind of like re-edit the song so just instrumentals are playing when I want to add in like a voiceover of mine. That part plays after like the artist keeps singing. From what I remember, I just looped the beginning part again though. Because if I didn't do that, I feel like his voice would be really distracting over mine. I definitely can't say I ever expected to be celebrating my 20th birthday on... That's with him singing while I try to talk, which is just distracting. But without, if I undo that edit... I definitely can't say I ever expected to be celebrating my 20th birthday. Yeah, I just looped that beginning instrumental part. I structure most of my videos around the song, and then from the song I add in the voiceovers, and then from the voiceovers I add in the visuals, and then from the visuals I'll know where to do the sound design. That's kind of the step-by-step of what I typically do, depending on whatever video. I'm very disorganized with footage. In my head I just knew the clips that I wanted to use, like the timeline of everything. So I put everything in a timeline and just did a complete like rough cut of the video. That's kind of how I know like what footage I have and what footage I can work with when I'm like writing out things. Because I write after I film. Once I know what I have and I'll have like a general idea of how I want to piece it together. And then I'll start the writing where I think it would make sense to like put each scene and each shot and each voiceover. If I'm just doing voiceovers, I'll write those just in my notes whenever I think of them. Sometimes it's easier to come up with what I want to say in a voiceover like after I've watched the footage. But sometimes also I'll just get an idea to say something at like some random point, and so I'll write it down in my notes. It's a very disorganized process. Like my scripts are not organized whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that's good. I really do.
So on October 30th, 2021, I, Natalie Lynn, turned 20 years old. I think when I was writing like these voiceovers, I was kind of just setting up the whole video. I think I probably wrote these voiceovers and added in these voiceovers after I knew what the ending of the video was, because I had to set up, the story to make sense in the end. I try to kind of give the voiceovers some breathing room. Like, I think it feels like a lot if all the voiceovers were like just back to back to back. So I try to kind of space them out in between footage. Like the Borderless intro plays like right after I say this. Turned 20 years old. Kind of gets the vibe, and then I say something else. I definitely can't say I ever expected to be celebrating my 20th birthday on the side of a road. Another breathing clip right here, just so it's not too many voiceovers back to back. And I guess what I mean by breathing clip is just I want to space it out so it's like not too much back to back. A breathing clip is, I would say, just something to kind of make you feel like you're actually there.
I hit a rock.
Like showing what this actually was and what the experience was, and I guess the reality of it.
Well, it's just like a fat...
And then we go back into the voiceover and music. I start to realize I have to get comfortable with the fact that eventually one day I and everyone I know is going to die. Another kind of slow breathing clip, I guess you could say. I like to be like patient with things, like not just cram it all in at once and try to like, I mean, there's probably like 3 seconds of like not really much happening, but it's kind of like setting you up for this next scene.
There are many uncertainties in life. Death is not one of them.
Because then it goes into a bunch of fast-paced
no
stuff.
Whereas
Whereas I feel like if that all just played back to back to back, it's like a Mr. Beast video, you know, like just so much happening, and I try to just be a little more like patient with it.
There are many uncertainties in life. Death is not one of them.
it's certain that everybody's going to die. There's no certainty as to when.
It's the fear of the unknown.
It's this big, huge mystery that none of us really understand. The ending of life.
We must accept death as an essential part of life.
Okay, so honestly, I kind of cringe at this 2 years later. I feel like it looks a little corny. It's just a bunch of like stock footage. I didn't have a lot of visuals as I'm talking about death, but I wanted to like, you know, encapsulate the feeling of like, oh shit, like we're gonna die one day. For my footage, I just didn't put any effects over it other than the normal like color grading. Vans Creek Bridge is the adventure that I go on in this video, and I had all this like B-roll on my drone from when I was there. The bridge is supposed to, maybe this sounds a bit pretentious, but it's supposed to be the metaphor for being afraid of death, and so I thought it would be fun to play around and put it in here. And then the rest of these clips are just stock footage that I kind of put my own effects on. So this is what this clip looked like before. Just a really corny stock video off of like Storyblocks or something. For a lot of these B-roll shots, I just put a lot of effects in Final Cut Pro over them, like film grain. I put a thing called shape mask in Final Cut Pro over this to kind of give it like a old film vibe. I did this thing called roll in the effect called bad TV, and it kind of plays around with the sides of the footage. There's like a little bit of like rainbow glitches in there to make it look cool. It's hard to say how much time I actually spend because I think I just get in like a workflow and I'm just going for it, but probably like a lot of hours. I think if I remember correctly, I edited all these kind of sequences together or just B-roll together, and it looked like really bad at first, and then when I was doing the fine tune-ups to everything, I was like, okay, I gotta make this look a little bit better, and that's when I started putting all the old TV overlays on it and kind of like the rainbow effects, I guess.
Understand the ending of life.
We must accept.
I did a lot of like sound design, I guess, on this, like clocks ticking, the sound of like a heart beating really fast, little like whooshes, really like low key. All of those sounds together create like a really cool feeling. Without the sound, it was awful. This is an example. The sound really saves this entire like little sequence. There's no like life to it without the sound. It's just kind of awkward. And then when you put the sound, it's like
No certainty as to when.
It's the fear of the unknown.
It's this big.
kind of like that. I put like a wood creek,
It's certain that everybody's going to.
but without it,
One of
it's
them.
like really awkward.
It's certain that everybody's going to die.
It's just like little details that I think make it so much better.
All vital functions within the human body will come to a stop.
The body temperature drops steeply.
We will lose our ability to experience things as we know them. That is the condition of our human experience.
Once you're dead, your life in this body is over forever.
My thought process with putting the same shot again was like, it could have honestly just been because I needed more like B-roll or like visuals. I was really struggling with this part for that. Like, when you first see it, when I say like, oh, we're all gonna die one day, eventually one day, I and everyone I know is going to die. Then you see me on this tree, you're like, okay, like what is this? But then you watch this like montage about like the inevitability of death, and it's kind of like scary. And then you see the shot again and you're like, okay, I get why that maybe played before. I don't know, it kind of ties it together in that way. So yeah, that was the intro to my video, breaking it down. Thank you for watching.